Bob Ryan, sports columnist emeritus for the Boston Globe. Bob, thanks for the time this morning. We appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. No problem.
So you tweeted last night that it's hard to root against either the Thunder or Pacers. They're both lovable teams without any certified villains. I'm personally rooting for the Thunder because we've been sold a bill of goods here in D.C. that the Wizards are following this Thunder blueprint. So I see off into the distance maybe
because
the Wizards.
Will Dawkins.
Yeah, because Will Dawkins has ties, obviously, to OKC. He's here now. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that the Wizards can become some sort of version of the Thunder in the future. Am I a crazy person, Bob, for thinking that?
I think so.
Well, you know, the damn Yankees, you got to have hope, miles and miles and miles of hope. So good luck to you all. I have to be very honest. I am not, I'm, as we speak, I'm trying to conjure up any kind of vision of rosters, of anything of the Wizards. They have become such an anonymous team, going on 40 years of mediocrity, plus 40 plus years, that I'm not qualified to answer that question. Good luck to you. That's a good blueprint to follow, but I see blueprints come down to human beings, come down to players, talent, personnel. Are they talking about matching up styles of play? Are they talking about matching up roster age composition? Are they talking? What are they talking
Building
about?
through the draft, essentially.
Acquiring a bunch of draft picks.
Bob, you're old school, so I'm guessing that you're maybe more with me, but maybe not. That there's a school of thought that you can only get to that elite level by getting to the bottom first. And I just hate that notion, and I disagree with it completely.
No, I don't believe in any absolutes of that nature. I don't believe in that. I don't believe you need X amount. It used to be, people were got it in their heads that you need 2 All-Stars to contend. No, you need 3. Now we got a team, in the finals, the Pacers, that people are saying, really, they don't have any great stars. Well, they got some excellent players, but maybe they don't have marquee stars. Halliburton obviously is not quite there yet. He's erratic. Now he's hurt, so they have to understand that. Siakam is a really nice player, but is he slated for the Hall of Fame? I don't know. I don't think so right now. But he, maybe he could construct a resume in time. No, anyway, there's no absolutes. I'm sorry, I don't buy it at all. Things happen. You get lucky. You got to be lucky too. You got to be lucky that what you talk about draft picks. Some draft years are better than others.
Of course,
and that's that. I mean, Purvis Ellison was a number 1 pick. Michael Olowokandi was a number 1 pick of number one. Yep. Say no more.
Right.
Yeah, the Thunder, when they had Durant and all that, and Westbrook and those guys, when they went to the finals, they only went through a couple of really bad years. So I'm just kind of looking at their records. In 2021, they had 22 wins, and the year after that, they had 24. All right, but then they skyrocketed to 40 wins the next year, and then 57, and then obviously this year 68.
There's no skyrocketing here.
No.
They
didn't have to go through what the Wizards are going through.
The Celtics in 2006 and 7 had a 19-game losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they were abysmal. They were terrible. They were just another stop on the NBA trail. The history was irrelevant to blah blah blah. Well, on draft day in 2007. Danny Ainge trades his number 5 pick to the Sonics for Ray Allen. Because Ray Allen is now joining up with the Celtics, Kevin Garnett is now amenable to a trade. He would not have come to the Boston Celtics if the Celtics hadn't picked up Allen. Now they've got Allen, Pierce, and Garnett, and guess who won the championship in that year? So that if you can do something like that, good luck to you. But that's not. I wouldn't call that a blueprint. That's just lucky stuff.
Right, totally.
But do you like this particular NBA Finals this year?
I love it. I love the whole playoffs. From day one, there have been so many entertaining games from all the matchups. Yeah. I think it's been one of the great playoffs of pure.
Wow.
Just sit back and enjoy. If you don't have a specific rooting interest at any particular time in any particular series, we've had a number of outstanding games. And, of course, the history been made by the Pacers with the comebacks and Halliburton making history with 4-game winning shots of the nature and all that stuff. We've had all kinds of great stuff. Yes, I'm very much
How can you reconcile, Bob? Because I've kind of written off the league, the way it's changed so much, and 53s per team. It's just a race to the 3-point line, dribble around, throw up a three, get the rebound, throw up another three, get another rebound, throw up another three. Like, how do you reconcile that? I mean, I know that this finals allegedly has been different. They're playing better defense, maybe being a little bit more selective. But how do you reconcile just sort of the style of play and say this is such a great playoffs?
There are few more vocal critics of the three-point shot than I. I am documented going back at 20 more years, okay? Yeah. I think it's the worst thing to happen to basketball in my lifetime. Yeah. It has distorted the game at every level. Right. I do not enjoy the game in general as much as I once did. Right. However, this is the antidote we're watching. They won a game with 3-point shots the other night, okay? Yeah. They're not playing that game. They're playing real basketball. Now, we still don't have pivot play. I mean, count on your hand the number of times you have seen a 7-foot guy put his back to the basket, raise his hand, get an entry pass, and then take a 6-foot jump hook, as a post play. You haven't seen much of that, but they still are having a balance. All I want is balance, guys. I want some inside, some outside. Use the three as a useful adjunct, not as the raison d'etre. It's become the raison d'etre. I call it the Darryl Moore-ification of basketball, and the insidious comment or phrase that the worst shot in basketball is the long two. That's all Darryl Morey stuff, and everybody subscribes to it. It's like in baseball, the pitchers, the managers now manage the same way, and the guy strikes out the side, and then in the 8th inning, he can't pitch the 9th. Anyway, basketball has its own problem with the three. We're not having that right now, though, this group. Thank God they're giving us something better.
All right, so you're a big fan. All right, gotcha.
Well, I love what they're doing now. I know when the season starts next year, we'll go back and the generic NBA game will include 40 to 50 threes attempted by a team. The Celtics had 60, which was reprehensible. Right. But right now we have something different. And if you're hurting your own self, if you claim to like basketball and you're not watching this, you're doing yourself a disservice.
All right, fair enough.
Okay. All right, I got to talk some baseball with you, okay?
Oh, I do wonder why.
Now, look, I grew up a huge Red Sox fan, Bob. I'm not as big a fan now as I was when I was, in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. I went to the 2004 Game 1 World Series. It was like 28 degrees. I had to buy a jacket out on the street. It was so cold. But I still kind of root for them. I mean, I also kind of root for the Nats because we have a connection with them now. But I still kind of follow the Red Sox. Anyway, so Devers is clearly their best hitter. They gave him a huge contract 2 years ago, $318 million. All right. But they also realize that he's a hack defensively. So they go out and get a better defensive third baseman. And I don't know what their discussions were. Sam Kennedy, the CEO, and Breslow, the GM. I don't know what their discussions were in the offseason with Devers about that. But he clearly did not want to move off of third base. But they were saying, you're going to DH or you're going to play first base. On the surface, it looks like he's not being a team player. But it also looks like, well, what the hell were you doing, Breslow and Kennedy, not sorting this out before you went out and got Bregman? So, and after you gave him a huge deal. So who's at fault?
I like that. I see. That's my feeling, is that they should know after all this time who they're dealing with, and anyone could have predicted his intransigence, that he would not be happy. He views himself as a third baseman, even though he's way subpar defensively. But they had to know that, and so when they bring in Bregman, and then I don't know exactly what discussions they had, but obviously they should have anticipated trouble in that regard. That's absolutely for sure. That's because the guy is who he is. And by the way, but in terms of asking him to play first, there's no guarantee he would have been very good at first. People think it's that easy to play. That people think it's that easy to play first. Yeah. I'm an old Little League first baseman. I was taught how to play first base when I was 10 years old. Footwork and everything else. And there's a lot involved in with that position that people don't realize. And there's no guarantee that guy was fighting it as he would have, would have turned out to be any good at first. Well, true.
Anyway. But Bob, when Casas got hurt, you got to be a team player and say, all right, Casas is out for the year. I've got to go play first to help the team.
Of course you do, and that he should have, but that's who he is. The Giants have to understand it. And now, did did you guys see? Maybe I hallucinated, but I thought I saw something on X yesterday where he is already saying, "Oh, I'll play first. I'll do anything you want. I want to just help the team win." Did he really say that? If he really did say that, then we know that it's a deeper issue with the Red Sox and him in a personality clash or whatever than we knew. If he really said that that's not what we want to hear. Here, you know that.
Yeah.
We don't want to hear that. Why couldn't you say that for us?
Right.
So this is complicated. It really is. And by the way, Sam Kennedy and just be honest. Don't tell us that you think it's going to help the Red Sox this year. This subtracts from their. They're not going to be a better team because they got rid of him. They might find a way. The kids might be that good. Anthony and Meyer and Campbell and all that. They might be that good. And Abreu's coming back soon. And they'll. But don't tell us that they're going to be better or that this enhanced your chances of making the playoffs.
Right, you got rid of a headache. That's what you did. That's what they got.
And really, what a day of juxtapositions. They come off the high. They beat the Yankees. They sweep them. It's 4:00. It's a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Everybody's happy here. And then the news comes within the hour. And talk about deflation.
I bet.
Absolutely, and it's too bad he is who he is. We know what an excellent hitter he is, but it's too bad. This is the package, and they got to say they mishandled this.
Bob, sticking with baseball though, let's touch on the Nats. They won a World Series. 2019. Since then, you had the COVID and some weird stuff, and they started unloading guys. And now, before you know it, you're blinking. You're like 5 years losing. Now they're, even though just 2 weeks ago they were like 30-33, they had, been on a little streak. Looked like they're making some progress. Now they're in the middle of a 9-10 game losing streak. They lose to the Rockies last night. The natives are restless. They're not used to this. They're calling for Rizzo, and they're really calling for Davey. What do you do when your manager wins a World Series? But here we are, 5 years later. I mean, sometimes you have to make a change just for the sake of making a change, even though the guy may not be doing anything wrong.
Oh, don't we all know in all four major sports, and I guess we can throw in five with the MLS and the World Soccer, but certainly in America, it's no shock when the manager of the year or the World Series winner is fired within 2 years. They all know, and it's a truthful statement. You're hired to be fired. They all know it. Every manager and coach in American sports knows it. They're not all. There's only one exception out there, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3 coaches in 50+ years. That there's nobody even remotely close to that. But other than that, I can understand the people calling for his head, and of course, it was always a tenuous thing anyway. He had to prove himself over and over, right? And I might be the solution. The old, you can't fire 25 guys, but you can fire the manager. But yeah, it's dire times. There's no question. I wouldn't want to be a Nats fan right now.
Yeah, it's not great. Hopefully, they can get off the schneid today against the Rockies.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing.
Well, that's the feel good, Dr. Feel Good for everybody now to play the Rockies for a series. So
right. Well, they blow a 1-run lead in the 9th last night and allowed 3 runs. So anything can happen. Everything's going wrong for the Nets right now.
Oh man,
So we won't be surprised if they lose 3 out of 4.
Well, that would be that might be the old nail in the coffin.
Nail in the coffin.
3 out of 4 to the Rockies.
We're joined by Bob Ryan from the Boston Globe. Let me get your temperature on the Patriots in the last 3 years, 8-4-4 wins. I'm not going to cry a river for you and all the Patriots fans in your 6 Super Bowls, but Mike Vrabel comes in. They add Stephon Diggs. He's already, making waves, so to speak, before the season even starts with the boat video. How do you see things working out for the Pats in 2025?
Yeah, well, that's a very interesting issue because they have a lot of positive things that people are citing, such as Drake May looks like he's going. All signs are that he is going to be pretty good. They are beefing up their defense now, and the defense looks on paper pretty good. They're getting Barmore back after these blood clots. They signed Williams. The offensive line definitely needed help. They hope that the first round pick is going to help them. despite the short arms nonsense.
Right.
No, they look, but wide receiver has been an issue. They have been absolutely notoriously unable to draft a wide receiver. The best wide receivers they've ever were converted, were guys like Troy Brown and Edelman, who was a college quarterback. But anyway, Diggs, you're bringing in a guy with loads of baggage, and now he's got baggage, but on paper, talent-wise, it's a major upgrade. If he can, stay out of the rest of the paper, if he can always stick to being in the sports page, then that's going to be the good story this year, and not be on any other pages in the paper. So that's the big goal. They're going to be better. I think that I'm going to go the over/under is 8. And there'll be a rise to the level of mediocrity out of being just lousy. But right. People here got spoiled. There's no predictably, naturally. But the last few years have been, Belichick's his last year wasn't good. Obviously, Mayo was a colossal mistake. But they've improved the coaching staff. They got McDaniels. They got and Vrabel has got everybody pumped up. The players are pumped up. Everybody is. The fans are. And so we have they're looking forward to this series. There's a lot of curiosity and hopes that they're going to at least be respectable. That's the goal for me anyway. Be respectable, and then we'll worry about it from there.
Bob, you're a legend. We always appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much.
See you, Bob Ryan.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye now.
Yep, that's Bob Ryan, sports columnist emeritus for the Boston Globe. Coming up in just about an hour, Chelsea Janes from the Washington Post. She'll join us to talk Nats baseball and more.